Getting growth and development right at your company is one of the most impactful things you can do to keep your team engaged and motivated. And at Charlie, we've built a review feature to help you do exactly that. Super admins and admins can set up reviews in Charlie. Reviews are great to monitor progression, probation, and quarterly check-ins, for example. To find your reviews, you just head over to the Grow tab on the left-hand side. By just clicking on Grow, you'll see your own specific Grow and Development tab. So you'll see any active reviews that you're participating in, either as a reviewer or a reviewee. And then below that, you'll see reviews that you're running, so where you're the reviewer and you need to input the feedback. By clicking on the reviews button below Grow, you'll see your company-wide reviews tab. It takes you to the activity page where you can create a new review cycle. You can see all of your in-progress review cycles, ones that are ending soon. You can also see ones you've scheduled to come up. And then you can also see any reviews that you've started setting up but you've not yet scheduled, and they're saved as a draft, so you can always come back to them and get them set up at a later date. The first thing we're going to look at when it comes to reviews are our templates, because you need a template to get a review cycle set up. You'll see on the templates page that we at Charlie provide you with about 7 templates that we've created to kind of help you get the ball rolling if you don't already have an existing reviews feature. If you do have an existing reviews feature, you're able to add in your own template to Charlie by clicking here, New Template, and you can create your template from scratch. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment, but we're first going to look at a template itself. So for this example, we're going to use the goals check-in. You'll see at the top of the page the name of the template, which is goals check-in. Below that, a short description, just letting yourself and your other super admins or admins know what this template can be used for. So checking in on the progress people are making towards their goals. Then you'll see a kind of an overview of the template. So in complete total, there are 13 questions in this template, and you'll see the different questions and instructions for both the reviewer and the reviewee. In Charlie, we run feedback-based reviews, so all of the templates that you can create and that we've created for you will have open-ended questions. Your team members just come into Charlie and input their responses. You have the option to run one-way or two-way feedback reviews. So two-way feedback reviews looks just like this. You have a different set of instructions for the reviewer and a different set of instructions and questions for the reviewee. Both team members input their responses directly into Charlie. They then go, they have a meeting to discuss the feedback that was shared, any other questions, thoughts, concerns, and come up with actions and decisions. And then the reviewer comes back into Charlie, inputs those final meeting notes, those actions, the discussion that was held, and then the review cycle is closed and everything is stored on Charlie. So you can see here, these are the questions and instructions for the reviewer. They're completely different. So you can really tailor it from a reviewer perspective and a reviewee perspective. You'll see on here on the upper right-hand side the template actions. So you can decide to use this template now. You'll notice that you're not able to edit or delete a template. So if you have a reviews template that has been used in a review already, you're not able to edit that template, but you can actually make a copy of the template. So if you have been using a template for a while and you need to update it, or even if this is your first time setting a review cycle on Charlie and you like the look of one of our templates, but maybe there are a couple edits or suggestions you want to change, you can do that just by clicking make a copy. You're then able to update the template name, so goals check-in. This is a really great way to highlight when it was updated, when it was created, and just let you know like this is the most up-to-date version. And you can also change the description if you want. By clicking next, you're then taken into what type of template. So this is where you decide if you want that two-way or one-way feedback. You'll also see some handy tips throughout the way from our lovely HR advisors here. So we'll stick with a two-way template. And then this is where you can edit those instructions and questions. So you can see the instructions, you can add more. So if you want to say, refer back to your P2P template on your profile, if there's a document you want them to refer to, if there's specific things you want them to think of, and then you'll see the questions. So you're able to drag the existing questions around. You can delete them completely, or you can add your own question to the bunch as well. You're also able to do the same for the reviewer section. So change their instructions, change their questions around as well. Once you're happy with the changes you've made, you'd click next. And this is just a high-level overview letting you know that this is the new name of the template, the description. You're also able to see who created it. So if you ever have any questions, you can always refer back to them. And then you'll see the format. So you'll see it's 6 questions for the reviewees and 6 questions for the reviewers. By clicking Save Template, it will then live here on your templates page. You're always shown the Charlie templates first, and then below that, you'll see your custom templates that you've created. So you can see you can store as many templates as you'd like on Charlie. So that's why sometimes it's super helpful when you're creating a new template or creating a copy of a template to be super specific in the name and descriptions, because it really helps you know exactly what you're looking for. And I mentioned previously, you are able to create your own template from scratch. So if you've already got an existing template or you want to build it yourself, you just click New Template. It will give you the option to potentially start with one of ours. So if you wanted to use our exit interview and make changes to that as we just did, you can, or you're also able to create a template from scratch. And you just go through the same process. So name and description, 2-way or 1-way feedback, and then you'll have the instructions and questions. It will just be completely blank. It won't be pre-populated for you. So everything you need to know about templates, basically we've just covered. We'll now go and look at creating a review cycle in Charlie. Creating a review cycle in Charlie is super simple. You can get this completed in just a few steps. So you have 2 places you can create a review cycle from, either within the template itself. So on the goals check-in, for example, template actions, use now. Or for most people, you'll create it from here, from your reviews activity page, the first page you come to. You just click new review cycle and it asks you which template do you want to use. So you have the option of creating a new template right here, right now, if you need to do that. However, if you're going to use an existing review template, either from Charlie or a custom template, they'd appear here. By clicking on the template, you'll then see a kind of an overview of what the template looks like, so you can make sure it's the one you want to use. You'll see the questions for both participants and their instructions. Below that, you'll see the option to include peer feedback. So by toggling this on, it's super clear within the review that you want your reviewer to gather peer feedback. I will flag, peer feedback is not something the super admin or admin sets up in requests. You can turn it on or turn it off, but it is up to the reviewer themselves to gather that feedback and select the peers. So if you want to include peer feedback, you can toggle this on. If you toggle this off, it's showing that peer feedback is not required. However, reviewers always have the option to request peer feedback, even if you have toggled this off. Now, I did mention that admins and super admins aren't able to request the feedback themselves or manage the peer feedback, because that's what the reviewer does. But you can add specific questions, instructions that you want the peers and the reviewers to see and be aware of and to think about. So if you want to think about their work this past cycle, or if there's specific questions you want to answer, have they done a good job, for example, anything like that you can include here, and then everyone will see this when they're inputting their peer feedback, so they know kind of what to think about. If you want to leave it completely open-ended, you can leave this section blank. It is not mandatory. So once you're happy with the template you've selected and your peer feedback settings, you click next, and then we'll ask you who is going to be reviewed. So on Charlie, you have the option of having all your employees reviewed. So everyone within the company are automatically added to this review cycle. You do have the option of excluding people. So if you're going to run a company-wide quarterly review, but you've just had 3 new starters, they probably don't need to participate. So you can select to exclude them here. You also have the option of running reviews for just individual employees or specific users. So this is great if you're running a probation review or an exit review, or if you want to run your review cycles by teams. We do have some users who prefer to not do company-wide reviews, but like an ops team review, a sales team review. It's a little bit more setup, but you can definitely do that on the system. So you just select the team members you want to include here. For this example, though, we're going to use all employees. By clicking next, it will ask you who you want to review them. So you have the option of selecting their line manager. So anyone who has a line manager on the system, it will automatically set that line manager up as the reviewer. You also have the option of one person reviewing everyone. So if you're a smaller company or your CEO wants to be the reviewer for everyone, you can do that here. And then you also have the option of setting custom reviewers where you manually set the reviewers. So this is great if you want to do skip level one-to-ones, or if you want to do more peer-to-peer reviews, you can set that up yourself. For this example, we'll go ahead and stick with the line manager, click save, and now the review has been created but not scheduled. So this would be what we would consider a draft and what we looked at the very beginning of the review. You'll see any errors, so this will flag any reviewers who are missing. So these users don't have line manager set up in the system. You can just click change reviewer and select the new reviewer for them from the list and update. You're also able to change a reviewer for any reviewee here as well, or delete a participant from the review completely. I will flag that you're only able to change the reviewers yourself until feedback has been shared. Once Alex here shares feedback with Ginny, you won't be able to change the reviewer. You would need to get in touch with us so we can unshare that feedback, and then you can change it. And then below that, you'll see an outline of the review structure. So what team members will experience. They'll each submit their own feedback. They'll have meeting notes. The reviewer will add in the final meeting notes, and then the reviewer will have the feedback from peers because we selected to include that. You'll then see the review timeline. So this is the day the review cycle was created. We have yet to schedule a start date. We'll do that in a moment. Once you've scheduled the start date, that's the day the review launches. All your team members receive an email letting them know. They also receive an email halfway through letting them know that, hey, you're halfway through. It's like a little nudge letting them know they need to complete the review. And then you're asked to input an end date just so everyone knows when they need to complete the review by. However, admins and super admins are always able to extend a review cycle that's in progress. You can extend an ended review. You're always able to extend a review if you need to give your team members more time. And then we come to the schedule review section. So this is where it asks you to add the review name. So we by default populate it for you. You're able to change that if you'd like. You're also able to input your start date. So you can do it as far into the future as you would like. And an end date. We'd recommend about 3 to 4 weeks to have a full complete review cycle. Again, you are always able to completely extend the review if you need. And last but not least, you're able to customize the launch email. So this is the email that all participants will receive on that start date you've selected. You can customize the subject line. You can customize the email content. If, for example, you want to include, if you have any questions, who to contact, if there's a specific date you want them to hold the review meeting on, you can input that all here. Once you're happy with how everything looks and you're ready to schedule the review, you can click schedule. And then we'll ask you if you want to run this review again in the future. So Charlie does not automatically rerun review cycles for you. However, you can set up a nudge on a date of your choice. If this is like a quarterly review and you want to be reminded to set this up every quarter, Charlie will send you an email. You also have the option to schedule the reviews as far in advance as you'd like. So if you know in January you're going to be running 4 reviews and you know the dates you're going to be running the reviews on, you can set them all up in Charlie to run in the future, and then you're always able to edit them up until the launch date. Totally up to you. By clicking schedule, you're then taken back to that activity page, and you would see the review as upcoming. If you scheduled it for upcoming. If you scheduled it to launch today, it would then show as in progress. And if you didn't yet set those schedule dates, again, it would live here as a draft. So congratulations, you have now set up your first review cycle in Charlie. The last thing we're going to look at is how to make changes to review and what the review looks like for your team members. So you can click into any review cycle that's in progress, that's coming up, and you can see the details. You can see the review timeline. You can see the cycle status. So it's only an 8% completion, but it ends tomorrow. Kind of worrying, maybe I need to follow up with my team, maybe I need to extend the review date. And then you'll be able to see here kind of a breakdown of the different steps that have been completed. So only one person has shared their own feedback, only one reviewer has shared their feedback, no peer feedback has been shared, and no review meeting final meeting notes have been shared. By clicking into a review, you're able to see kind of high-level information. So super admins in Charlie, you're the data controllers. You can see absolutely everything. You can see all submitted feedback, even if you are not participating in the review. Admins, you can create this review cycle. You can see this information, but you cannot see the feedback that has been shared. It will appear as locked to you. So this is what a review cycle looks like from my perspective as a reviewer. It would live here on my activity page, and it would also live on the Grow tab overview. So you can see here, I have 2 people to review in this check-in. I can open it. I can scroll down and see, oh, I've not reviewed Jenny. By clicking go to review, this is what a review cycle looks like for a reviewer or participant. You'll see the preparation, little tips. I'm the reviewer. I need to invite Jenny to a review meeting. This is the day that the cycle ends, so I need to make sure it's done before that. It also shows you previous reviews. So if you want to see historical reviews to then compare to this review, maybe to see their growth, you can see that here. And then these are the feedback forms. So you can see that Jenny has yet to complete her self-evaluation. When she does, I'll receive an email letting me know, and then I'd be able to see the feedback answers here. This is where I see my evaluation of Jenny. So I can come in and input my responses. They're always saved as a draft. So you can click in, you can click out. Me personally, when I participate in my reviews, I like to input my review information over a couple of days. So I'm not rushed and I know exactly what I'm saying. And then when you're happy and all review boxes have been filled, you can come in and click submit and share. I will flag who receives an email and who can see your responses. So Charlie will send an email to Jenny to let them know I've shared my responses, but there are 2 other people who can access my review and won't be notified. And you'll see why. It's because they're super admins. So by clicking yes, submit, and share, Jenny gets an email letting her know that I've shared my evaluation of her with her, and then she can come into Charlie and see it here. Below that, you'll see an option to include a review summary. It's locked at the moment because you cannot submit the review summary until both participants have submitted their review, but this is where you would submit the final action notes, the final meeting notes, any decisions here, and then there'll be an option to share and submit and close the review. Above that, you'll notice this is the peer feedback. So this is some of the guidance. There's been no peer feedback shared here yet because me as a reviewer, I've not actually requested that feedback. To request peer feedback, I'd come up and go to the peer feedback section here. And then it asks me to select the recipients. So I would select the users I would like to give feedback for Jenny. I can include a deadline if I want them to submit it by a certain date. And then by clicking send request, Charlie sends these users an email letting them know feedback has been requested for Jenny. They then click the link and it takes them directly to Charlie and they can input their feedback. Once the peer feedback has been entered, it would live here. The way peer feedback works is a peer submits their feedback into Charlie. Only the reviewer is notified. The reviewer can come in, can see the peer feedback. It is up to the reviewer to share that feedback with the reviewee. So if you want it to be anonymous and the reviewee not to know their feedback, you wouldn't share it. The reviewer has the option to make it anonymous by removing the team member's name. They can make edits if some stuff should be included and shared with the team member, but not all of it. It's fully up to the reviewer's decisions. A reviewer also has option to manually add feedback. So if I want to go around as the reviewer and speak to these people myself, I can then come in and add the feedback. I can leave it anonymous by keeping name and job title blank, or I can input that information here. And then this is where you would input the peer feedback. Once it's saved, Jenny is then able to view it. That's basically everything when it comes to review cycles. Again, last thing to highlight is where team members can find their reviews. They can find them in 2 places. They can find them here on the Grow tab with their active reviews, where they are a reviewer and where they're a reviewee. And they're also able to view all the reviews on their profile Grow tab. A normal team member cannot see upcoming reviews. Only super admins and admins can see any upcoming reviews that are scheduled. Everyone else would just see any in-progress reviews they're in, as well as their historical reviews. Historical reviews, again, are always saved on Charlie, so team members can always refer back and know the progress they've made, etc. That is basically everything you need to know about reviews. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out via chat here on the right-hand side. You can also go to our help center where we have lots of handy articles as well.